It's the story of how the British Army gave their own troops LSD in their ongoing efforts to try and weaponise the drug in the 50s and 60s.
1 hour and 10 minutes after taking the drug, with one man climbing a tree to feed the birds, the troop commander gave up, admitting that he could no longer control himself or his men.
Starting in 1953, the British Army were interested in using LSD as an agent of warfare. Specifically, they wanted to know that if they used it on the enemy during interrogations, would it get them to tell the truth? Would it act, in other words, as a truth serum? So they recruited some of their own servicemen and said, we'd like you to volunteer in a study where we're just looking at how to cure the common cold. Years later, it emerged that rather than just researching common cold remedies, they actually gave the participants acid. The one whistleblower who came out about all this was a guy called Webb. Now, he was 19 in 1953 and he was a serviceman. And he volunteered for one of these studies, which turned out to be an LSD study. He thought it was going to be an easy, cushy role, as he said. He was given LSD several times over the course of a week, which resulted in him suffering from what he described as nightmarish hallucinations. He said cracks started appearing in his colleagues' faces and he could see eyes rolling off their heads and onto the floor. Not ideal when you're at work. Not ideal in any scenario. Now, Webb says that he suffered flashbacks for a decade following the incident. Now, in 2006, the Ministry of Defence actually compensated Webb and paid him off, although they didn't admit liability. Strange thing to pay the compensation if you don't admit the liability. Now, all this stuff was going on around Porton Down's top-secret chemical research establishment in Wiltshire. As the 1950s gave way to the 1960s, the British Army were realising that LSD, its use as a truth serum, wasn't very effective. So instead, they thought maybe we can use this to incapacitate the enemy. We've also got a video from 1964, which the source of this is the Imperial War Museum, and we can see that there was testing LSD on quite a lot of troops by this point.
The men began to relax and to giggle. But this man was more seriously affected and had to be removed from the exercise. After 35 minutes, one of the radio operators had become incapable of using his set. 50 minutes after taking the drug, radio communication had become difficult, if not impossible, but the men are still capable of sustained physical effort. However, constructive action was still attempted by those retaining a sense of responsibility in spite of physical symptoms. But 1 hour and 10 minutes after taking the drug, with one man climbing a tree to feed the birds, the troop commander gave up,